Today's been a historic day for NATO, with Finland becoming the 31st member. Your thoughts on that event?
It's nothing but good news. Finland is a formidable military country. It's a country with extraordinary resolution, determination, and self-reliance, and they will bring a great deal to the NATO alliance. They have been very close NATO partners for many years. We've been operating with them very closely, and I've always thought of Finland and indeed their neighbouring country, Sweden, as in some senses more NATO than NATO. So this is good news for the alliance, and it will not only give Finland that ultimate guarantee of collective defence, but it adds value to the alliance as a whole.
And tell us what's happening with the Swedish application to join NATO, because they applied at the same time, I think.
Well, I wish we knew. I mean, the answer is that it's been blocked and held up by Turkey and Hungary. I have no doubt they're doing that for their own political reasons, but I'm pretty confident, pretty sanguine that Sweden will be following fairly soon into their neighbour Finland into NATO.
Well, and that would be very interesting to see. Now, how is this all playing out in Russia? What do you think President Putin makes of this? And do you think he will want to express a view or express some kind of retaliation?
Well, in the immortal words of Corporal Jones of Dad's Army, he doesn't like it up him. And you can absolutely, we've already seen the sort of hot air, the normal hot air from Russia. Shoigu talking about measures will be taken, and you can expect a lot of noise from Russia, but it's not going to change the price of fish. All it will mean is that Russia is confronted by a defensive alliance that will be even stronger and more able to deter Russian aggression.
And let's move on to the French president. A very interesting visit taking place tomorrow. President Macron heading to China with Ursula von der Leyen to try and put pressure on President Xi, to put pressure on Putin vis-a-vis the Ukrainian invasion. What do you make of this, Sir Richard? And do you think that they might have any success?
Well, I have my doubts, to be honest. Number one, I think we have to recognize that this war is in Xi's interests. It is making Russia increasingly a vassal state of China. And of course, it suits China and suits Xi for the West, for NATO, and particularly for America to be diverting significant amounts of military capability to Ukraine, because it means that that they're not there to deter him in the South China Sea. I think the second point I'd make is that, with the greatest respect to the President of the French Republic, I think he's got to be really careful about the optics of being seen as a sort of supplicant at the court of the great High Manchu President Xi. Here's a man, let's be clear, President Xi, who a couple of weeks ago was shaking hands in Moscow with an indicted war criminal. An indicted war criminal who, like him, is a leader of a permanent 5 UN Security Council member. I don't think Xi's peace plan has a hope in hell, particularly given that thus far it makes no mention of Russia extracting from Ukraine, and there is no condemnation of Russia's naked assault on Ukrainian sovereignty. I think the third area our third concern I'd have is the optics globally. Yeah. Because all this is doing in the global South is giving Xi greater prominence as a sort of a peacemaker. Well, he's not a peacemaker, but boosting his image in the global South, because we have to recognize that the global South does not share the same view of the Russia assault on Ukraine as the West, and indeed as NATO does. Many of them, many countries in the global South, Sub-Saharan Africa, Southeast Asia, and indeed North Africa, are suffering as a result of this war. Yeah. They believe that the sanctions are caused by NATO, not by Russian aggression. They believe that this war, that NATO has a part to play in as a casus belli, and they just want to see this as an end. And that the more that European Union presidents fly into Beijing to ask Xi to stop the war, the more it gives Xi power and preeminence with the global south.
So, Sir Richard, you've given us a very categoric, very well set out argument about why you think this is a bad idea. Why do you think Macron has done it? Who do you think has advised him to do it? And do you think this could, cause some diplomatic anger from other allies for all the reasons you set out, particularly the optics?
Well, against what I've just argued, against myself, if President Macron manages to persuade Xi to condemn without question Russian aggression and to really exert leverage on Putin to extract from Ukraine, that is great news, because that could set the conditions for peace. So let's hope he does. But I just caution the other points I made.